this session. We appreciate God for what He has been doing. It's yet another time to draw together in God's presence. And of course, this is Heartformation Christian Global Mission. We are presenting what we call Heartformation. Heartformation is one of the core programs that the Lord has given us in Heartformation Christian Global Mission. And this program has been on for a few months now. I believe today we are supposed to be looking at session 13 and 14. Because we do not have new people among us today, I will not dwell too much on the recap. I will just run through it a little to remind us and to refresh our mind. Then obviously we'll go to session 13 and 14. We all remember that the introduction, it is act of flesh. That is a vision of the ministry, which is from the book of Ezekiel 36:26, where the Lord said, "A new heart I will give to you, a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of the flesh, out of your flesh, and I will give you a new heart." In essence, what the Lord is saying is, through this program and all our other programs, the Lord intends to renew our heart, to give us a new heart, which is a heart of flesh, and take away the heart of stone. The heart that is totally controlled by the Holy Ghost. The heart that will follow God wholeheartedly and will listen to God's instruction. So the whole essence of Heartformation, just as the English word will say, is really to renew our heart. Some of us need a new heart. Some of us need to renew our heart so that we can be in line with the Holy Ghost and understand vividly what God is saying. And it's not going to be difficult for us to follow God's instruction. Our mission is from the book of Isaiah 61, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good tidings unto the meek." And of course, the Lord said that is financial freedom. Good tidings unto the meek. And He said He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, which is the Heartformation that we are doing now, to proclaim liberty to the captive, that is the prophetic, and the opening of prison to them that are bound, that is the power activation. Like I always said, these are the four core mission of this ministry, where the Lord instructs us that we should teach financial freedom, we should teach Heartformation. The prophetic grace is amazing in the house, and of course the power activation, where we teach people to unlock what God has given unto us freely, and so that we can be able to take advantage of it. For the Bible said He has given us everything that pertains to life and godliness. I remember the first session, we looked at the introduction, why is the heart so important? And I remember I always said the first reason is because the emphasis and the demand of God is basically on the heart. What it means is, in everything, when God will judge, when God will reward, when God will evaluate a man, it checks the heart and not the heart of man. So in other words, we look at the outward, the Lord looks at the inward. And that is what we have in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 7, where the Lord is telling Samuel, He said, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, do not look unto his appearance or the height of his stature, because I have rejected him, for the Lord sees not as man seeth." He said, man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. You remember the story of Samuel and Saul. So our judgment as man tends to be on the appearance, what we see. But the judgment of God goes beyond that. What God looks at is the intention. And I always try to tell people that most times when you see people that are doing good, you might not know that the motive and the intention for doing good might be bad. So what you think is very good might actually not account to anything before God. As a matter of fact, it might attract punishment as against reward. Someone that also is doing something that seems very bad in our eyes, it might be for a good intention. And while everybody is condemning that man that is a bad man, how can he do that? How can he say that? God is rewarding that man, that he is doing what is very good. So the satellite of God is about the heart. And of course, we have Matthew 5:8, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. All these are emphasis to let us know how the heart is so important unto God and how that God relates with the heart of man. Proverbs 21:2, every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weigh the heart. Can you see? That's what I've just explained. He said the ability, the number 2 reason now is that the ability to determine who will become eventually. The first one I've said, the reason why the heart is important, of course, is just 2 major reasons that we are looking at for the purpose of this workshop, is because God is going to judge the heart. God's light is the heart. Then the second reason is that what will become eventually, the productivity of our life, is basically our heart condition. Proverbs 4:23 said, above all, let's guide that heart, for everything you do come from Him. So productivity of man is determined by the heart. Proverbs 23:7 said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. All these are pointer and proof to the fact that the heart of man is extremely important. Remember the first one, God will judge the heart. And if God is going to judge our heart, then why can't our concentration be on the heart and not what we are doing? Let's be so focused and take it so important, because we know that whatever we do now, God will base His judgment, His reward, His punishment, whatever, is going to base it on the status of our heart and not what we do. In other words, if you understand this very well, you gradually not be bothered about what people are saying or what people think about you. You know, I used to respect people's opinion years back. But now it's like it doesn't really make any sense to me again, because I know that God will not ask any man before He deals with me. What you feel about me actually does not determine what God is going to do about me. He's not going to come to me and say, what do I do? And that's why there is a man everybody is cursing, God keep blessing him. And there is a man we pray for morning and night, and God keep punishing that man. It's because God will look at the heart and not the heart. Of course, we have the content of the heart. What do we have in this heart that we are talking about? What do we have in the heart? These are the things that you find in the heart of man. The heart of man is where love is kept. Love comes from the heart. Love doesn't come from the brain. Love doesn't come from your intelligence. Love will come from your heart. So as a matter of fact, if a man said he loves you, a woman said he loves you, or your boss said he loves you, and it's not from the heart, then that is actually a lie. You can't have love from your brain. It always comes from the heart. Desire, our desire comes from the heart. Feelings come from the heart. Emotions come from the heart. Affections come from the heart. Compassion comes from the heart. This is actually what makes up a man. If you want to know a man, these are the things you study about that person, because all this comes from the heart. If you understand a man by this, you have known that person. Even when you say no, that's not true, but that is actually who the person is. Because this is what we have in the heart of man. These ones, it will be expressed directly from the heart. And when you study this, you actually know the person. Proverbs 4:23 said, it tells us, above all else, guide our heart, for everything flows from it. This is the reason why we should guide it. That is, when we guide our heart, we are careful about our love, our desire, our feelings, emotion, affection, and compassion. And I can remember Jesus is trying to tell us what do we have in the content of a man. When a man is born, actually, it's amazing that all this came from me, because even in sin, we are all born. Jesus pointed out the fallen condition of the heart of man. Because when men fell, this is what comes across. So every man naturally will have a trait of this. Except a man is born again and is being renewed by the power of the word, every man carries this. And that's why I always explain to people. I said, I don't get disappointed by anyone now. The reason is because I understand the fact that this thing is packaged with every man now. When a man is born, he's packaged with these things. See what Jesus said. Jesus pointed out the fallen condition of the heart. Mark 7:21-20. He said, from within out of men's heart comes evil thoughts, immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly. All these evils come from inside and make a man unclean. Our biggest problem is not external but internal. Do you understand? I know that every man carries the tendency of this. When we understand this, you will not be too disappointed. Even when a man said he's born again, we should understand the fact that it is the spirit of a man that is born again. Gradually, the spirit begins to transform the soul and affect the flesh. So you don't even expect too much from a man that said he's born again, because it is the spirit that first gets born again. Gradually the spirit, as you feed the spirit more than the flesh, the spirit now begins to transform your soul and goes to the flesh. That's why the Bible said, be ye transformed by the renewing. So the fact that a man is misbehaving doesn't mean that he's not born again by the spirit. But yet his spirit have not been able to overcome the flesh and the soul. That is why he's still struggling with it. So we understand. When you know that a man is born with this, really, you will be able to understand, and you not get too disappointed, but rather maybe you encourage or you pray. So naturally I expect this from every man. So when a man do any one of this, I understand the fact that it is the nature of man. Then of course that man has not gotten over some of this. So you don't get too disappointed. Jesus said these are the contents of a man. But except a man is born again, except a man has allowed the spirit to dominate his or her life, you still see all those things. We look at the importance of the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7 that I have been talking about the story of Saul and Samuel, how that Samuel tried to come in between and appeal to God, but God said, no, what you are seeing is not what I'm seeing. I am not man, it is what I see that is straight in the heart, not what you see. So I've rejected him. Jeremiah 17:9 said, the heart is deceitful above all things and is desperately sick. Who can understand it? Can you imagine? So it's because the heart is what actually determines who a man is. So it's something that we should carefully understand. When you want to study a man, you need to go and understand the heart of that man. And how do you understand the heart of that? I've given you the clue to that. You understand the love life of that person. What is the desire of that person? His affection, emotion, feelings. That is how to know a man. You don't know a man by what he's doing. You have to understand the love, the feelings, the desire. What are these things about a man? That's how you can know a man. So the book of Luke 6:45 said, a good person out of the good treasure of the heart produces good, and an evil person out of the evil things in the heart produces it also. Proverbs 4:23 said, keep that heart with all vigilance. I like that word, vigilance. Another one said, with all diligence. He said, from it flows the issues of life. So these are the importance of the heart, and I wrote there, I said the heart is the foundation of all things. The power of creation resides in the heart. The picture of all that we can see resides in the heart. The architectural design is first painted in the heart. That's how powerful the heart is. The heart is where everything is first born. When you want to stand up now, you will have thought it in your hand and said, I want to go. Then you will not act. Most times when you want to say something, it will first come to your heart, except some very few people that has these oratory abilities. You know, some people, they think after they have spoken. Some people are like that. And some, you know, it comes to the heart first, and they're like, I want to do it, I don't want to do it, you know, before they actually act. So for the purpose of this, we need to understand the fact that the architectural design of everything that we see, this building you are seeing, even this program, is first born in the heart of man before it now comes to reality. So before you see anything that is coming out, we have this 99% that it has first been born in the heart of man. John 1:12 said, but as many as received him, then he gave the power to become. I've explained this to you before, that even the salvation that we have in the Lord Jesus is still come from the heart. Because the Bible said we need to believe in our heart, then we now confess before we now become the sons of God. That is, if you don't believe in your heart and you confess, then you are actually not born again. I think I dwelled on this more last week. So what we believe in our heart is what we can become eventually. Hebrews 11:10 said, for he was looking forward to the city and the foundation that the designer is God. Let's move to the next section now. Yes, I explained all this also. I think I've just explained this one. I want us to go to the third section. The third section is where we said, what you do is a function of your heart and not your brain. I've explained this over and over again. We are talking about that, about the fact that our behavior is actually driven by our heart and not our brain. What we mean is that most times what we do doesn't come from our intellect. It comes from our heart. And why? It's very simple. I've explained the content of the heart unto you. That it is in our heart that we have desire. Usually, every man wants to do what he or she desires. And that's why we have regulations, that's why we have rules, that's why we have policy. That is why a country cannot rule without having a constitution, without having a law that guides. Because if not, things will not work out. Because naturally, a man wants to do what he likes, what he desires. Everybody want to wake up the time you like. You want to go out the time you like. You want to go to bed. You want to eat the time you like. Except there is a rule, there is a restriction, there is a guidance, there is regulation, there is a policy that says, no, this is how you must do it. Of course, everybody wants to do it the way they like. And that's why we said what we do is a function of our heart. Because human beings, we are driven by our desire. We are driven by our love. We are driven by our feelings. Except that something is actually restricting us, we want to do it the way we like. Luke 6:45 said, okay, I think we have looked at that scripture. It said, out of our heart comes what we do, either good or bad. So with this, we have been able to establish the fact that what a man does is actually a function of the heart, not a function of the intellect. Because you want to do what you like. If nobody is telling you do's and don'ts here, everybody wants to talk when they like. Everybody want to sleep when they like. Everybody want to eat. Everybody want to go out when they like. But except there is a guiding rule and regulation, we all want to do what we like. And so we are all driven by our heart condition. Of course, we know the content of that heart. I also said that we are all lovers. Human beings, we are lovers. If you look at it, love is one of the contents of the heart. And so we said, every one of us, we are what we love. Where you are now is actually a product of a combination of your desires, your love. It is what you love. You are what you love. You practice consistently what you love. It is what we love we want to do. If anybody just asks you now that, what do you want? I'm sure if you are going to speak, you are going to talk about what you love. If anybody said, where do you want to go? You always say, you will talk about where you love. If anybody say, what do you want me to buy for you? You will always request for what you love. So human beings, we are a product of what we love. We respect and devote time for what we love. If it is what you love, we devote time for it. We create time for it. We respect it. But if it's not what you love, even when you find yourself there, it's either you run away early or you come late, or even when you are there, you are not concentrated because you don't like it. What you love and desires come from the heart. I've explained that. What you know comes from the mind. You are not what you know. You need to think to do what you know. Like I always explain this. Before a man can begin to act from intelligence or from your mind, then it takes a lot of struggle, a lot of discipline, and a lot of thinking. And because of that process, human beings usually will not want to go through that process for everything. Fine. If you find yourself in a paid job and they give you rules and regulation, then you need to think, be disciplined, and follow the guidelines. You understand? In that way, where you are working, you might not put too much of what you love. You understand? That's a different case now. That's why I said, if you have to work by your mind or your intelligence, you have to work by some strict rules, which is obviously very difficult. Like I remember when I was in the corporate world, this is one of the problems we encounter. You struggle with all the stuff and you need to put a little bit of force before everybody can comply with the regulations. You understand? Because naturally, every staff, they want to walk into the office when it's convenient. And the rule said 8 o'clock, we have to open for customers. 7:30, 7:45, every staff must be around. We have to pray. We have to open for customers, vote out and all that. And how can we open for customers 8 o'clock when staffs are coming in 8 o'clock, 8:15? So some strict rules and punishment need to put in place so that people will comply. Another thing, every human being feels like when I'm tired 4 o'clock, 4:30, I need to take my bag and go home. But you need to put some rules and say nobody leaves here until 6 o'clock. Nobody goes until you finish every work on your table every day. Except there is a strict rule, discipline, and regulation. Every human being wants to do what they love. That is why a boss in the office, we need to be monitoring, go around, checking the fact that, have you done it? Where is the assignment I gave unto you? It's because if you are not on that particular employee, that person wants to do a single assignment for 8 hours and go home. But instead, somebody is there and said, I'm sending another assignment. You have to get it done by 12 o'clock. You must submit to my table. I must see it in my email 11 a.m. That guy wants to do a single assignment for 8 o'clock. Why? Human being wants to do what they love. They want to behave the way they like. That is what makes up a man naturally. But except there are rules and regulation and discipline, you can't actually achieve the other one. So naturally, when you look at a man, and despite that regulation, I want to tell you that immediately you turn back, they still go ahead and do what they love. When you are not in the office, they do what they love. That's why when you employ people, you need to put a supervisor. In fact, you get to a stage, you need to put what we call a compliance officer. That is somebody that will force them to do the right thing. It's that bad that you, after getting a manager, because a manager himself needs to be supervised. You understand? Even the MD needs to be supervised. That's why we have the board. And that's why they have to create a department that is called compliance department, inspectors department. Why? Then we go around and even supervise the fact that they should do the job that they have been paid for. Even though they know, it's not that they don't know what is right. They know it, but this is the problem. They want to do what they love. Human beings would like to spend even before the salary comes. So except somebody is there to supervise and they don't take the company's money. I can remember in those days when we are still frontline tellers, because you have cash with you every time, and as you are working, you feel like taking a bottle of Coke. You take from the money and say, you get me a bottle of Coke. You want to buy chips, you say, you take. And by the time we want to balance at night, that 15 naira will be outstanding. Except you have a customer that have given you tip to cover up that. All the money you are using to eat snacks while you are working, it will be obvious at the end of it, so you need to debit your account and put it back there. So if not that somebody will tell us to balance at night, then every day 15 naira, 20 naira will be missing. Because as we are working, we want to do what we love. We want to buy a bottle of Coke, we want to take tips. But because there is somebody that will check the cash at the end of the day that it's not complete, then we will now need to comply. So obviously, every woman being will want to do what we love. So I believe we understand the fact that we are all lovers. And we want to look at the next one. This is a continuation of the lovers. Section 4 said, your heart is your wall. I think I explained this also. Your heart is your wall. What we are saying is, you remember the scripture that said, guide your heart with all diligence, out of it flow the issues of life. If the issues of life, your productivity in life, if it's going to come from the fact that the status of your heart, then your heart is your word. That's why he said guide it. Your heart is your word. Your heart is what you're going to become eventually. Your productivity, your result, what's going to come out of your life eventually is a product of your heart. So I said your heart is your word, your heart is your life. What you receive from God is a result of our heart. I like this also. You remember that there is nothing that a man receives that is not of God. And if you believe that what you receive is from God, your future is in the hands of God, your life is in the hand of God, your tomorrow is in the hand of God, and God said, I'm going to reward, I'm going to judge, I'm going to punish based on the status of your heart, then you should know that your heart condition today will be determined by what God will give you tomorrow. That's why when he was saying, I rejected Saul, Samuel was amazed. He said, I look at the heart, I look at the inward, you look at the heartward. I have decided to stop. And if you remember the story of Saul, the Bible said, God said he has found a man after his own heart. If you look at the profile of Saul, you will be surprised that God can change his mind. Why? Because God observed the heart of Saul. God sees that with this heart, he cannot be able to continue the journey with him. Remember the story of Caleb and Joshua. He said, they walk with me wholeheartedly. What God desires is that your heart be right with him. When your heart is right with God, your future is guaranteed. Your word, your life is guaranteed. But when your heart is not right with God, God is ready to cut that person out of his program. So your heart is your word. What you are going to become is going to be a product of your heart. What God will do for you tomorrow is a product of your heart. And that's why we tell people most times, when a prayer is not coming from your heart, it's not going to be answered. I tell people most times, that's why when I want to lead prayer, I teach before I start raising prayer points. I can't give you a prayer point you don't understand. When you don't understand, it's not coming from your heart, then you are praying it. Who is going to answer it? It must be a prayer that comes from there. So you don't just come here and tell them, let everybody pray now. There must be a little bit of details for that person to understand and absorb into the heart. Oh, this is the reason. So when the person is now discussing, he will be talking to God from the heart. That is an heart-to-heart talk, a prayer that God will answer. So your heart condition is very, very important when you are dealing with God. And of course, if God is the one that determines your life, your future, your world, so you can conclude and admit right now that Your heart is your world. Who you are today is a reflection of your heart. Who you are now is a product of your heart. What you will become will be determined by your heart condition. Who you will become tomorrow is a reflection of your heart. So your heart is very, very important, and it determines your world. So what is going on in your heart is actually a reflection of what you are going to see tomorrow. And of course, I explained this sometimes ago in our first and second session, that if you would like to become anything in life, just keep it in your heart and begin to water it there. You discover that eventually you'll become it. Most of these great people you see around, most of the great things you see around, they were born in the heart of someone, and that person begin to water it with prayer, meditation, concentration and all that. And one day you see it coming out. And it's like, oh God, this is a picture I've seen. There is this great man of God in Nigeria. When he wanted to build a university, he has this picture. He has this picture in his heart, the picture of a university. He has it in his heart, and before you know it, each time the architects are bringing the structures. Each time the architects are bringing the structures and the plans for him, he will say, no, I have a picture in my heart. It doesn't go well with it. I have a picture of what I want to see. So when they are bringing the architectural design, he will say, no, I know what I've seen. Because he has built the structure in his heart. He has built a particular picture in his heart about what he wants to see. So he will not just take anything. And most times, if you see some of the Christian brothers and sisters, when they are searching for a life partner, some of them will tell you that, no, this is not what God has shown me. This is not the person God has shown me. Because that person has actually kept a picture in the heart. He formed a picture. I remember when I used to do counseling, I tell people, I said, you should, by character, form a picture of who you want to marry. What I mean is this. For example, you said, I like a tall lady. I like a fair lady. I like somebody that is of a little stature. By that, you are already forming a picture of what you want. And by the time you meet that person, probably in church or where you walk, anywhere in a gathering, if you see that person via the details of the characteristics that you have put together, it has formed a picture in you. So when you meet that person, you know I've met the right person. A lot of people have that testimony and said, immediately that person said hello, from that voice, and I observe what the person has been doing, it's exactly the picture that I put in my heart. Except that you have a picture of what you want, whatever they give you are going to take. And eventually, it's going to become a problem. And that's why a lot of people say, I regret this, I regret that. Because you don't have a picture of what you want. If you have a picture of what you want, then by the time you want to make your choice, you are going to make the right choice. So your heart is your word. Your heart is a major determinant of who you become eventually. Let's move to the next one. Session 5, I said, you are what you say. And this is coming from this particular scripture, Proverbs 23:7, that said, for as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. From that, we can bring out this particular ideology that you are what you say. Because what you say actually flows from your heart. Most of the time, we talk. The Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And so you can actually also study a man. If a man is speaking from his heart, then you can determine the heart condition of that man. So because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So you are what you say. What you say is a product of your heart. If your heart is your word, if your heart determines who you become, if your heart is what God is going to judge, then if a man is speaking from the heart now, if a man is speaking from the heart, that is an expression of the abundance of what you have in your heart. And when you are now speaking from the heart, then you can know specifically that this is who this person is, and what happens to you eventually will be a product of that heart. So that's why I said, you are what you say. See, you are not what you think. I don't know. We think from our brain, right? Most times, you think, but most times it's not what you think that you do. Right? Because you speak from your heart. Abundance of your heart. That's how you speak. And if you speak from the abundance of your heart, then the productivity comes from the heart, not from your brain. Most times we think, and that's why I always submit to you that a lot of people, they are professors, they are doctors, they have a lot of qualification and all that. But when you see some of the things they do, it actually does not reflect their intelligence. It's because you are not what you think. Your intelligence, your academics and all that is all about your thinking faculty. It's all about your IQ. But most times when we want to act, we act from our heart. That is, we act from our desire, our love, our emotions, our feelings. You understand? All these things come from the heart, not from the brain. So that's why I say you are not what you think, but you are what you say. What you say, because it's an overflow of your heart. So if the heart determines who you are, and you are speaking from the heart, then that means you are actually expressing your heart, and that is what you become eventually. So you are what you say, and you are not what you think. A lot of people, they think well. That's why you tell people, most times when you are counseling people now, or you are trying to advise some people concerning some things, don't you know that most of the things, for example, what I'm saying now, it's possible these are some of the things you know. How come you are not doing it? How come you are not doing it? You know it. But why is it difficult for you to do it? That when you want to act, you act on your love, your feelings, your desire, emotions, and affection. Because that is how man is being created. It's a lot of struggle, a lot of discipline for a man to do what he knows or what he thinks. Most times, we don't do what we think. We don't do what we know. We do what we love. Do you understand? So it takes a lot of struggle, a lot of discipline for a man to begin to put to practice, what you know. And that's why even as we are teaching now, we always look forward to the fact that the Holy Spirit will help us, that you will not only understand this in your brain, but you will take it to heart. Because until these things that we're talking about goes to your heart, you find it difficult to use them. So most times, our action is not a reflection of our intelligence. Our actions is not a reflection of what we know. Our actions is a reflection of what we love. And what we love comes from the heart, and what we speak comes from the heart. That's why we said you have what you say. Of course, all this is what I've explained. I want us to move quickly a little bit today. So section 6, this is just a little bit of what I've just said. We said we are not what we think, we are what we love. I just explained this. Romans 10:10. He said, for with the heart one believes, is justified, and with the mouth one confesses, and is saved. This is trying to tell us that there is a cord between your heart and your mouth. Confession usually is expected to come from the heart, because the Bible said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So what you confess is an overflow, is an expression of your heart. And the book of Romans 10 said, from the heart we believe, and from the mouth we confess what we believe. So in other words, there is a cord, there is a link between our heart and our mouth. So the abundance of what you have in your heart is what you speak. So when somebody is speaking, you need to look within it and see that this man is speaking his heart. And when a man is deceitful, we have the Holy Spirit that will discern for us that this one is not speaking from the heart. You understand what I'm saying? So when you speak from your heart, you are expressing yourself. And that's why we say, we are not what you think, you are what we love. I've explained a lot about that, about the thinking. That the reason why you are not what you think is because it is difficult for us to put to practice what we know. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of concentration, a lot of denial of the nature of man before you can put it to work. And that's why sometimes when you see the way some people behave, you will never believe that they have that kind of qualification. We have been Christians for a very long time. Almost all the messages you are hearing in churches, there are things you have heard them somewhere before. Either on the air, on the internet, on the TV, audio, or some services you have attended before. But you keep going to church, they keep preaching almost the same message unto you, and each time they preach it, it's like you grab something new about it. Why? It's because not everything you know. That's why when a preacher is preaching, you see people say, yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. Why? It's because they've heard it before. As a matter of fact, they know it. But why is it that it is difficult for you to put it to practice? It is the nature of man. Man naturally, we want to do what we love. We want to do what we desire. We want to walk by our feelings, our emotions, our affections. That's what is driving us as human beings. For you to be able to live without that, you need an extra effort and discipline. And because it takes extra effort and discipline for you to deny the nature that you are born about, then it cannot be possible for you to apply it in every situation. I'll give you an example. If you find yourself at workplace or in the line of duty, official now, we tend to try as much as possible to deny all these things and to work by rules. Because that place we believe is an official environment, is an official assignment. We like to work to details. Unfortunately, that same man that is working to details in workplace, let the man get home. He will shelve all the details of those intelligence and begin to act by emotions at home. If you're at home, you tend to do what you like, what you love, what you desire. When you get to your workplace, you tend to be very official. Why? Because at workplace, you believe it's a paid job. You have the responsibility and the duty to work according to the rules. Right? But at home, or in the church, or in a more relaxed environment, or social environment, everybody tends to lose up. You put aside your intelligence, you put aside the rules and regulations. You want to do what you like. You want to do what you love. Look, let me give you an example of the way we dress. When you are going to work, because when you get employed, they give you the rules, how you should dress to work. So either you like it or not, you want to dress that way. Even when you are not happy, you want to dress that way. Let somebody just invite you and say, can we just go for shopping or something on a weekend? Then you see that man or woman wearing what he or she likes. You see it as a free day. I remember in those days in the corporate world, on Friday we call it dress down. That is, it's not necessary you put on your suit. It's not necessary you put on your tie. So those days, you see people coming with jeans, coming with shirt, Everybody wants to do what they like because we think it's a free day. That is a real man you are seeing. What he has been doing from Monday to Thursday is just compelled. He's being forced to dress that way. And that's why some people, by the time they are stepping out of workplace like this, they won't even get to the car. You see them losing their ties. That is, oh God, I've been in bondage since 8 o'clock. Do you get what I'm saying? You see them losing their ties. Some of them will even tuck out their shirt. Because naturally, what the person desires, what the person loves, it will be free. He doesn't want to be dressed that way. But because where he found himself, there is a rule and regulation that says you must dress this way. So that's what we mean by saying we are not what we think. That is, we are not run by our intelligence. Except what you think, find its way to your heart and become part of you. Because what is in your heart has become part of you. When they wake you up like this from sleep, you will speak your heart. When you are, for example, as I'm doing something now, if you are talking to me from there and I want to answer you, that is, I don't need to concentrate and reason about what you have said. I will speak my heart. For me not to speak my heart, I need to hold on and reason. That is, I will think before I act. That takes a long process, and you cannot be doing that every time. You can only do that in official matters, in some exceptional cases. But when you want to do what you like, usually our intelligence doesn't come in place. And do you know what forms you? It's really what comes from your heart. There is a lot of things that we are doing that is about our intelligence and our thinking. When we get to our closet, we don't do it again. You can please whoever, wherever you are, but when you get to our closet, you don't do it. And remember I said the power, the creative ability is found in the heart. If you are taught anything and it doesn't find its way to your heart, it's in your brain, that thing cannot be useful for you. Anything that is in your brain and does not go to your heart, it cannot be productive for you. The Bible said, guide your heart with all diligence, out of it flows the issues of life. That is, out of it determine your productivity. And I remember that I told you, for the purpose of those that are just joining us, I've explained to you the mystery, the spiritual mystery of how that our heart is creative. And I gave you vividly the example of Mary, the angel, and how he conceived Jesus. Remember that when the angel came to Mary, he said, blessed are you among women. He said, she will conceive and she will give birth to the Messiah. And Mary asked a very intelligent question. which every one of us here might want to have, that how come that my heart is creative? Can you prove to me, sir, that whatever is in my heart is what I will become eventually, or what I'm going to see eventually? The angel explained to Mary the spiritual process of how that our heart is creative in nature, how that our heart carries the creative power. The angel answered that question. He said two things. He said, the Spirit of the Lord will come upon you. When Mary asked that, how will these things be? How is it possible that I will be